Welcome to Mental Health Mondays. We're so happy to see all of you here this evening. Happy to be back with you. Welcome, Dr. White. Always good to host a program with you. And yes, I'm excited about our topic tonight. And yeah, there's just been a lot going on in the world. I feel like we didn't talk about this off air, but we should maybe just talk about what's going on around the world, just for not our whole program, but just
Sure.
so it's a wild day. But welcome. Before we get to that, welcome, and it's
Well,
good.
thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to having another, awesome session. And yeah,
Yes,
good for
yes,
you.
yes, yes, yes. As many of you know, the the very challenging times that are happening in the Middle East, specifically the Gaza Strip and Israel. And it's just really sad, all the things that are happening. And I think I'm really resonating with it because we were just there about 3 months ago, and I thought, man, this could have happened while we were there. And I'm sad for those who are grieving the loss of family and loved ones and suffering, and it's just a really sad situation. And to think of that, our own sister Patrice, who is our church secretary, she was supposed to fly out Sunday morning,
Wow.
because she was taking that Israel tour, the same one we did,
Wow.
uh, with Ty Gibson and David Asherick. But of course, obviously, that got canceled because the morning before this all broke out. So
Wow.
it's really, really, really sad, and we just pray for all who are involved, because the Palestinians have lost. There's life. There's been death on that side, and of course, Israelis have lost loved ones and friends and family. So it's just really, we have to keep them in prayer.
Yeah, we definitely long for the day when God will bring these things to an end
Yes.
and peace will truly reign. So
Yes.
definitely looking forward to that day.
Yes. And we call that heaven. That will be in heaven. And we all long to be there. So, welcome. The first one who was on, we have to do the very special welcome, Dr. White's BFF. And that would be none other than
Clint,
Clint. Yes. Hi, Clint. Welcome.
good to see you, brother. We love the new people, but we love our old people too.
Yes. Yes. We love our old people. We have, let us know where you're watching from. You guys are, some have said praying. Let us know where you're watching from. Okay, Janice is watching from Belize.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
so
beautiful.
welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome, Janice.
I didn't know how close Belize was to Panama, but yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
truly a Central American country.
Yeah. And yeah. And then on my mom's side, family's land is Honduras. So there's like Belize and then Honduras. And so, yeah.
So, are you part Honduran?
Yes, we you don't remember we've
We
had
talked
this.
about this.
Yeah.
So you're part Latin.
Yes, my
That's
great
pretty.
grandfather was from there. I've been there. I've been to Honduras, actually.
Have you?
Yeah, for a
Okay.
family reunion, and I feel like in those 2 weeks that we were there, I learned more Spanish than I did the 2 years I took it in school.
Oh, there's nothing like immersion.
'Cause I
There's
was
nothing
just
like
like,
immersion.
"All
Yeah.
right, you gotta do it. You gotta learn this Spanish." All right, we wanna say, welcome to Veronica from Castle Rock, Washington. Not sure where
Yanika,
yeah, I don't know where
Yanika
Castle Rock
from
is.
Buford, Georgia. I hope I said that right.
Yeah,
Buford,
looks
Georgia.
like it's Buford, and Sheila from Barbados. Heard
Nice.
Barbados is a beautiful island as well.
Oh, absolutely. We're truly international.
Yes, 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 and
Mm.
we are thankful for all of you. Moving forward into our topic tonight, the dangers of bullying. And, it's interesting. I don't know about you, Dr. White, but when I first started hearing the word bully, I was like,
Mhm,
what is a bully? Because when we were young, well, we're around the same age. We didn't
mhm.
call it bullying. We just called it. I didn't. I mean, did you call it bullying? Because
We
I just
call
said
it bullying.
we called it you're teasing me or harassing me. I
Well,
don't even know. But
I don't think there was as much structure around the experience. You just
right,
called it having a bad day,
that day.
and and sure it's a bully, but like now it's a thing. And
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a
we've
thing.
really seen it just expand.
Mhm.
And so I think as we see it more normalized and as it becomes more pervasive. And I think it's also something that people have been able to kind of start to study and understand, especially as we start looking to solutions. But
Right.
I think I understand what you mean. We certainly weren't getting a lot of it support in how to put an end to it.
Definitely not. And I don't know about you, but for me, I mean, wow, you just felt bad and you didn't even know who to tell. You didn't go tell the teacher. I didn't even go home and tell my parents, really. You just like took it and just dealt with it. So yeah, there wasn't as much conversation around it as there is now. But I can say that with many of my clients, they'll talk about some of their current situations and how they're feeling currently and how they deal, their life story and how they've dealt with different issues and how their self-esteem and how they feel about themselves. And I'll ask a question many times. When is the first time you can ever remember having that thought or having that feeling about yourself? And I haven't done a study. I just know that I've sat there and listened to many, 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 many clients take me back to their childhood and to a situation. It could be within the home, through its siblings, but a lot of times it is on a playground or in a classroom or just with other young friends. And they'll say, I started to feel that way when the kids at school would call me this name or sometimes pick a fight with me or whatever. But I started to hear that from them and I started to believe that about myself. And I've had those thoughts and feelings ever since I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I don't know. Have you
So,
experienced the same?
this is how common it is. There are estimates that out of 100 students, let's say,
Mhm.
77%, 77 of them would say that they've been bullied. Um, so it is something incredibly pervasive. Of course, I've had my own experiences with being bullied, and just in terms of defining bullying,
Yes.
bullying essentially requires one, a person who's doing the bullying, and two, a victim.
Right.
And it can often be one to one, but the methods of bullying can be so pervasive. From
Mhm.
hitting to verbal abuse to threatening, but it's taking actions so as to make that person feel inferior.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and but the amazing thing is the pervasive nature of it.
Right. Right. And even now you can also cyberbullying. There's cyberbullying.
And then of course you get it, evolving into cyberbullying. And again, it's now just you're just leveraging technology to again abuse a person, to make a person feel less than.
Mhm.
I literally have patients coming in who at times have attempted suicide
Mm.
as a result of things like cyberbullying. I once learned about a cyberbully who they literally made fake accounts. They
Oh,
literally made like 20, 30 fake accounts
I think they
and
call
then
them
use all the accounts to then attack the person. I
right.
mean, like this is how sophisticated that it can get. It's like, my goodness, the effort. So yeah, it's really tragic. I think we all will have our bullying stories. So what did Clint say?
Right. I'm
Um,
sorry. Clint said bullying can travel with you too into adulthood. Yes, 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 Clint. And that's where I was going with that. As far as when I, talk to clients and, I ask them, when's the first time you have ever felt that you remember feeling that way? And that's when they take me back to their childhood and then fast forward to adulthood, they still have those negative thoughts. And the cognitive distortion was built primarily out of those times when they were being bullied as a young child. And bullying doesn't just happen when you're a young child. I mean, as you said, I mean, you had a client or patients that were um, had been cyberbullied and were seriously considering suicide because of that, and
Right.
that was as an adult. But
Correct.
definitely bullying has it takes it from the childhood, as an emotional trauma, and it does show up in your adult life for sure.
No questions. Some of the consequences to think of with bullying include things like physical and emotional harm. So it's pretty clear that bullying can cause physical harm, injury, even death.
Yeah.
Obviously. So it's not a trivial thing. But sometimes the wounds you don't see are so tremendously deep because, of course, it can result in emotional scarring.
Yeah.
Um, just like you said, so many of the inferiority complexes that we have are from our experiences with bullying.
Mhm.
I remember growing up, and of course, my complexion was a target,
Mhm.
and you could just hear every insult imaginable around just your complexion. I mean, it's just interesting.
Mhm.
Now, the
Right.
result of bullying can also be low self-esteem.
Oh,
Bullying can decimate
wow.
your self-esteem, and you kind of just not feel like you're worthy.
Mhm.
Were you gonna say something?
No, it just when you said that low self-esteem, I mean, that's what I find, again, with so many patients or clients, that their self-esteem is so low because the cognitive distortion, what they think about themselves was formed throughout those experiences being bullied, and they don't think they're pretty enough, or they don't think boys or girls or men or women really like them, and that's because they felt like nobody liked them in high school, or I had Amra's comment up there. She was talking about she was bullied really bad when she was 12, when she was in middle school. And wow, middle school is such, I mean, I know kids are bullied throughout school, yeah, elementary school and in high school, but middle school, it's such a sensitive time for you're going through puberty. You want to be accepted by your peers, but that it's like everybody's a little immature or very immature, and so the teasing or the bullying, it is so invasive and can just really destroy somebody's self-esteem.
And guys, here's the good news. We are not going to make the mistake of devoting the majority of the show to just the problem.
Right.
If you know somebody who needs this, please have them reach out and really push this out. Use your digital currency, because we are going to transition
Mhm.
eventually to, hey, well, what can you do? What can you do, and what really needs to be done in order to arrest this issue of bullying?
Right.
Um, but yeah, just some more as far as some of the consequences to bullying. There's the isolation. So sometimes from bullying, it's like it causes tremendous shame. And
Yes.
with shame, the last thing you want to do, is you were talking about, you don't want to tell anybody, you don't want to say anything. You're thinking is, what are they going to do anyway? And
Mhm.
so you feel isolated.
Yes.
Um, Now, what's interesting is when we talk about
Right.
active suicidality really just needs two things. It needs you to lose all hope, and it also needs you to feel desperate.
Yes.
So you can see how a bullying situation can make a person lose all hope and at the same time feel terrifically desperate.
Mhm.
So this is why it really needs intervention. This is why it's nothing to take lightly.
Oh.
It's an opportunity for a parent to really show partnership and engage, and really put heads together to figure out, okay, how do we bring this to an end?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
any comments on that?
Well, I yes, I'm glad you brought up parents, and someone else in the chat earlier on said parents, and all they put is the word parents, and I think I know where they were going because my mind is definitely going there as well. How much responsibility parents have to teach their children at the youngest of ages. I mean, I know this is young. My granddaughter's a little over 2.5, almost 3, and I'm going to be talking to my daughter and to be like, we all have to make sure that she understands how you treat other people, how you, because it's just the damage that bullying can do. Just a few, even a few times on the playground, the wrong words, being teased, it can tear it can tear them up so bad that it lasts throughout their adult life, until they start to go to therapy and deal with it, or actually do get some help, read some self-help books, or just really address it. They can carry it for so long, and it can damage someone's life moving forward.
No, so there definitely is a role for parents, and teaching.
Mhm.
Hey, this is why it's so important for you to be fair. So the stress and anxiety caused by bullying can, of course, have some physical health consequences, headaches, stomach aches, sleep disturbance. You can see how that would be a natural consequence. We are talking about mental health issues, depression,
Mhm.
anxiety. We've
Yeah.
already mentioned suicidal thoughts. Long-term effects. There are lasting scars that a person may have into adulthoods. So the struggle with the aftermath can be just for years on end. And we're talking about struggles in future relationships,
Right.
in even in your career. One big one, a huge issue, is the impact bullying can have on academics. On
Yeah.
academics.
Oh, wow. It can make them not be as confident to even raise their hand in class and ask the teacher a question, because they don't want to look like they're, not as smart as everybody else. So again, that ties into the insecurity piece.
And I think sometimes we forget that, like, that person learning and self-actualizing and becoming what they were meant to become, they may very well become a solution, to you.
Right.
Imagine the very person bullying, like, squelching a person and not having them self-actualize. What can be the reverberating repercussions of that? It can be just so
Mhm.
tremendous.
Yeah.
um
We've
Go
had
ahead.
No, I was gonna say we've had a lot of comments of people just resonating because they're talking about their own bullying stories.
Mhm.
Somebody had even said they were bullied. Go up there. I think it was Sharon, I think. But I think she was saying that, she had been bullied, so much at a young age. Um, yeah, at home and school and at the job, my children are different from me. They won't tolerate any bullying at all. Um, and
I
so
see.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I see.
Good.
I see Veronica saying bullying made me anorexic, which ironically brought me positive comments from people. That positivity made me think that my worth was only in how I looked. How Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Veronica. Um, but yeah, you could see how you're gonna have trouble eating. You're gonna, it's
Mhm.
just, I just hope it's pretty clear how reverberating it is. Here you have Sharon saying, "I got bullied a lot at home,
I read
school."
Yeah, I
Oh,
shared
you already read that
I
one.
shared
Okay,
that
okay.
one. And then Clint saying, "Unfortunately, I had to learn how to fight to deal with bullies. However, my kids are learning biblical and practical methods to deal with bullies." That's good, Clint. That's good. Because
Yeah.
we don't promote violence. It's almost what I want to say to Hamas is that fighting is not, meaning violence is never the answer. But I understand how that's what you had to do as in your younger years, on how to deal.
Oh, this young lady is Commander Benton. She's a commander in the United States Navy. Hi, Adrian. Thank you so much for watching.
Yes,
And congratulations on your recent promotion to commander. She's a commander of
yes.
chaplains in the Navy.
Congratulations.
And
Congratulations.
the commander said, "I went to a mixed school. I loved the experience, but I would get teased about my complexion and called a chocolate chip cookie. I had the darkest skin tone. Took me years to love my skin color." So, Commander, I completely identify with that experience. I didn't get the lovely reference of a chocolate chip cookie. That would have been a compliment compared to the kind of things they were saying to me.
Mm.
But I definitely understand your frustration. at the time.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And I'm glad that definitely got to that point where you've accepted and that you love your complexion. Um, I didn't go to a mixed school. I went to like all white Christian school, Adventist schools. And so, um, just they'll teach you about your hair. I mean, before I got braces, I had a lot of spaces in my teeth, and so they teach you about that. And so yeah, that was a struggle. I can say that I got that at school at times, but my mom built me up with so much confidence that I don't want to say it was a wash, like that the bullying didn't have effect on me at all, but I think it had less of effect than if my mom wouldn't have built up my confidence so much at home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, the role of parents,
Right.
not just the role of parents, but the role of supporters. I think Gigi mentioned something really awesome as well, and where Gigi basically said that she had been bullied so much, it turned her into a fierce fighter, where she was ready to take it on,
Right.
and that can often also be another consequence of bully. It makes you angry, and it can turn you into a rager,
Right.
so to speak. So I think it would be really easy to just talk about all the reasons why it just needs to stop.
Right.
So maybe we can shift over to, okay,
Yep.
what can you do?
Right. This is
What can you do?
we
Go
have
ahead.
that question, says, how do you address your child being bullied at school?
Okay, yeah. So what is it that you can do? Well, so first and foremost, let's try to understand the problem. Bullying occurs because someone's not doing their job.
Right. Yeah.
That's really important to realize. Bullying is occurring because someone is not doing their job.
Mm.
And I'll give you an example. In the workplace, there are in most workplaces, especially where you have any kind of significant number of people, there's a thing called bylaws. All right. And
Mhm.
most people aren't even aware of the bylaws because who's going to sit down and actually read them? But there are literally laws governing how you're supposed to behave.
Mm.
And a lot of times people aren't aware of it.
Right.
Like, so we know in our background, I probably shouldn't be yelling at you. I probably shouldn't be swearing at you. I probably can't like slam things down. In a lot of bylaws, it actually outlines that is behavior not congruent with the culture of the company. And there at times can be consequences.
Mm. Mhm.
Okay. And and those consequences can be enforced. So, what I'm getting at is a lot of times in communities, there are people in positions where they've actually been given the power to deal with these issues and they're not doing it.
Mm.
They're not doing it.
Mm.
Um, the question on all of our minds as we make any effort to understand how pervasive, how powerful, how all encompassing this issue of bullying is what can I do? What
Mhm.
can I do?
Mhm.
Here's a secret. Here's a secret. Each and every one of us, moment to moment, have a thing called influence.
Right.
You have influence. And the
Mhm.
question is, how will you use your influence? Let's go back to that situation where a kid at school is being bullied, right?
Mhm.
So there's a person, so there's a bullier and he's bullying this person. Okay, so number one, there's a parent who could have said to that child, you need to not bully people, and if you do, there'll be consequences. So there's a parent or an authority figure and a parental figure that's supposed
Right.
to do that.
Right.
Okay. Then there are teachers who are supposed to leverage their authority to say,
Right.
you know what, bullying should not take place. There's a
Mhm.
principal, there's a school board. Then there are students who have observed it, who have currency.
Right.
There are times people who are bigger than that bully, and even a glance at them saying, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. Stop. Bro, cut it
Mhm.
out. If that happens again, me and you gonna have words.
Right.
They've lost nothing. They've lost nothing, but they've
Right.
made it clear in their setting, look, that
That
needs to
we're
stop.
not tolerating that.
And what I'm saying is bullying continues because of people not leveraging their influence to stop it.
Right. If the school board or school administration knew the effects of what bullying does to people, it's just like they have um, the rules about, you can't bring knives to school or guns to school or whatever. You'll be suspended and all of these, or really you'll be, I think if you bring a gun, you might be expelled to school or from a school or whatever. But the consequences to bullying, if a child brings that up, because they're saying, that question was, what would you do? Or what do you do for your child who's being bullied at school? I believe that schools need to have stricter consequences if they are made aware that a child is being bullied. So number one, of course, go to the school administrators who have the power to do something about it. That child who's doing the bullying, like they're not scared to do it because they don't think anything's going to happen to them.
Well,
So if there are consequences, stronger consequences, I think they'll think twice about
so
deviating.
that's part of it. That's part of it. Are
Mhm.
there laws? Are there boundaries and consequences that would discourage the behavior? Are
Right,
there laws? Okay. And so that's sort of what the iron fist.
right,
But then there's the glove. It's like, has the school made a commitment that that will not be tolerated in this setting?
right.
So there's force, there's rules, but what are you doing as far as education? What are you doing to really help the children, help them know that's not something that we're going to tolerate in our setting?
Yeah,
We're going to educate, we're going to love, we're going to positively incentivize the student that steps in and says, you know what, don't do that.
right.
How do you positively incentivize that? But how do you make it a commitment? And here's what I mean by that.
I
Like,
like that. I like that idea. Like
how do
positive.
you positive, like, and here's the thinking, that here's the shift. Like,
They-
think about the administrators. If your child's life depended on bullying to be
mm,
eradicated out of that setting, what would you do?
you
If
would.
if the object of your affection, if they were going to be destroyed, if you failed to eradicate bullying out of your setting,
Mm-hmm. You
okay, what intensity would you bring to solutions? What clarity?
you would
How,
bring all the intensity that it took to make sure that it was eradicated.
guys, I don't know what else is on the agenda today, but we're going to have to put all that aside. I need your best ideas as far as how we're going to deal with this issue. It
Right,
needs to stop now.
right,
And guess what? Your child's life might be dependent on bullying.
right.
So maybe it does deserve that level of intensity.
I think it does. I think it does. I mean, the I know I'm we talk and we discuss about show ideas, and it was just finally I was just speaking with a student client, and she was sharing a story with me, and it had to do with being bullied and mistreated as a young girl, and the things that she's dealing with today. I just said, you know what, I really think we should do a topic, do a program about this, because it's so serious. It was like, not that I hadn't heard many stories throughout the years, but just hers was just like my final straw of this. There's something that has to be done, and we're just one program. Don't have all the.
But this is you leveraging
Yeah,
your influence.
yeah,
This is you
yeah.
leveraging your influence. You could have just ignored it. You could have just let it, but you're like, I've got to do something.
Right. I mean, we have our mental health field. We have so many clients and patients because of bullying. That's what I want to say. Definitely. They show up in therapy as adults dealing with the issues that bullying cause. And so, yeah, we are trying to shine a bright light on the dangers this evening of bullying. And I like the way you like really highlighted the administration and the school. So I think, and we started with the parents. I think if the parents and the school administrators take it so serious and really put in place things that can stop bullying on their campus, if everybody just really focused on their students, you could really make some changes, put a dent
And
into
it's not even
problem.
just force, because it's not just,
Mhm.
well, let's get that person out of here, but it's
Right.
also, what about incentivizing the people who stood up for it? What
Yes.
about
I think that was an
the
excellent
person
idea.
who brings it to the person's attentions? What about initiatives that study and try to understand, why is that student bullying people in the first
I
place?
was gonna say that.
What's going on there?
And
What
they're insecure and angry and broken. I mean, they're hurt. So yes,
and
there's
how do we address that?
Mhm.
Um, and so I'm just saying, it's a commitment to say we are not going to harbor this any further in our setting. I'm going to use all the influence available to me. And
Right,
it's everyone saying that. It's the
right.
school board, it's the principals, it's the parents, it's the students, it's the jocks. It's
Mhm.
the people who are popular who
Right.
say, I'm going to leverage my currency to address this.
The
Because as
leaders
the man said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
everywhere.
The
Yes.
beauty of experiencing influence, the beauty is sometimes you will have it, but
Mhm.
other times you won't have it.
Right. Uh,
Sometimes you might be the person being bullied. And how
mhm.
good is it going to feel to know that, you know what, when you had the power, you shared it?
Right.
Because one of the things that may very well rescue you is a person stepping up for you.
Mhm. Mhm. Court
Um,
Courtney Trent says the principal at my school addresses SEL daily on the morning announcements.
what does SEL
That's what
stand
I was
for?
gonna say. What is SEL?
Now,
But I'm just assuming it has something to do with
right.
bullying. I just don't know what SEL it means,
But
but
it's awesome that he's leveraging his
I
influence.
yes,
He's
yes.
using his position, and I think that's awesome.
Mhm.
Gigi asked the question, what if the parents don't think it's a problem or think it's kid stuff and they don't want to be involved? Let's talk about that really quickly. One of the things my daughter taught me,
Mhm.
one of the things my daughter taught me is, it's really easy to disregard how profoundly things impact them. And it's kind of cool that they start out as babies, because I'm sure if you're a parent, you at some point scratched your head and said, what are they thinking? They're
Mhm.
crying, what's going on? And you saw, you just do not understand what's going on in their internal world. And
Right.
so you kept trying. And it's important for us to realize that their internal universe, it's so profound. And it's easy for us to think that things are not impacting them that profoundly when it absolutely is.
Yes.
But here's the key, and they will often have trouble communicating the
Mhm.
depth to which it's impacting them.
Mhm.
They often do not have the language. The
Mhm.
biggest sign you will see is a change in their behavior. That's the biggest sign.
Right.
And you say, hey, what's wrong? And the communication back will not necessarily always be all that clarifying, especially if you're not a good listener. Their
Mm.
only signal is a change in behavior.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
heaven forbid they communicate to you now, I'm having a problem. Please don't take that lightly.
Right.
Don't take that lightly, because communication for a lot of kids, it's a challenge.
Mhm. Yes, it is. It
It's a
is.
challenge. Um, so obviously we can't make any recommendations because we don't know your particular situation, but this is just a big picture. In response to Gigi's question,
Mhm.
it is so important for us to take it very seriously when they say, I have a problem.
Mhm.
That's your opportunity to show your child you care and you have their back, and you will always have their back.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't know, as we're looking at this topic, it just highlights how huge the responsibility of parenting is, not only for the person being bullied, the victim, but also um, the bully or as we are the person bullying or doing the bullying. Because like we said, they're broken, they're hurt. I mean, they may not have their home life may be a wreck and they're angry and they take that out on other students or other kids when they come to school or in other settings. And so it is, when we decide to bring a human life into this world, like the responsibility that goes with that. It's not just making sure that they have a place, a housing, a place to live, or clothing or food. It's also to help train them to be amazing people, or at least learn how to treat people with respect and dignity.
Yeah, absolutely. Direct message to someone being bullied. Direct message to someone being bullied. Please do not believe the lie that you're worthless.
Right.
Um, and please do not give up. Please do not give up. Realize that it might seem, like a desperate situation, but the key to dealing with this, as will be the key to dealing with life, use every means at your disposal, especially legal, and but
Yeah.
there are authority figures in your life, so it's your parents, it's that teacher, it's that principal, it's law enforcement. You use every means at your disposal, because this is a skill you're going to need for life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you are faced with a challenge, do not give up in seeking the means, and sometimes even creating the means at your disposal to solve the issue. So but the big message: don't give up, keep trying. And obviously, the bigger message to us as a community is we have to use our influence in every means possible to make it clear that we're committed to not having bullying in our settings. We
Mm-hmm.
have to leverage our influence.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. Someone's asking, can you expand more on the communication skills depletion?
Communication skill. Oh, in terms of
Yeah.
like children not being able to speak. Well, I mean, if you've ever interacted with a 3 or 4 year old or 5 year old, most toddlers. Now, obviously, you can get some toddlers that are pretty precocious and they're very verbally astute, but that is absolutely the rarity. Normally, it's usually more body language that will communicate way more um, than their words.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have to read their posture, read the situation, go back to the context, to really try to make an effort to understand, and then really put some weight on what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then where you still have opacity, where you still can't figure out what's going on, that's when you get some professional support. It's like, I don't understand what this kid is saying, but I can tell there's something wrong. I'm saying, don't dismiss that, don't minimize it.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, there can be challenges. Like what child, imagine a 4 year old being able to grab you by the collars and says, Mom, I'm scared, someone's trying to hurt me.
Yeah. They don't, that's not how they're going to communicate it.
They're timid.
Yeah.
They're timid, and you'll notice they're not interested in the same things they normally are, and there
Right.
is a change. Maybe a change in grades, maybe a change in their interests. Maybe they're not as talkative as usual. Maybe they're starting to act out in different ways.
Right.
But as far as having the panache, if you will, to actually
Mm-hmm.
say to you, I'm in trouble, I'm scared, I need your help,
Mm-hmm.
it's rare. It's rare for them to be able to speak with that kind of clarity and power and really grab your attention. And so that's what I mean by you really have to reach them where they are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's lots of
Comments.
comments. And people like just sharing their stories. I think people are really resonating with this because everyone has experienced this on some level, some on a more severe level, some on a not as severe level, but still definitely have experienced.
GG. Not all bullying is so blatantly brutal. It's a form of bullying when someone says something cruel and then says, I'm just joking. No, absolutely true. Oh,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it kind of like now they step behind it now to say, well, it's not that big of a deal.
But it
Net,
just tears at, that joke that, "Oh, I'm only joking." It still tears just, sometimes, like you said, Gigi, it's not always like these huge big things, but little jokes, and every little saying or little joke just tears a little piece away at your self-esteem and your confidence. And as that's being continually done, it lowers it so low that you just don't have high self-esteem or confidence. So yeah, going back to while you're reading some of those comments, I just think again, and I'm just the way I'm thinking about this is kind of fluid, so I'll just say it. Just like people say that you're not born a racist, right? You don't just come born in this world and be like, I don't like people who don't look like me or another color or another whatever. That's not what happens. It's a learned behavior. So I'm not saying all bullies learn from their parents, but I know there's a lot of different things going on with bullies, but sometimes they can learn just not being nice to people at home just because they don't see the respect and the kindness being in between in the family unit. They see, sometimes there's a lot of teasing among siblings, and parents may allow that to go on. Things like that can be a learned behavior, and then they just take that from the home and bring it right into other relationships outside of the home. And that,
well,
that
it's a great point because a lot of times people really aren't taught to respect boundaries. Boundaries of simple things like physical space.
yeah,
Like you're not supposed to put your hands on people, you
right.
know, especially like unwelcomed. You really are not supposed to even
No,
violate a person's
you're
personal
not.
space. Um, like and sometimes you see that it's just not something that's taught or enforced.
Mhm.
Here's a question. What if the bully is a teacher? How do I address it? Some schools have a chain of command, but sometimes a chain of command starts with the teacher.
But the
Um,
teacher has a principal, and the principal has a school board. I mean, you go above that teacher. That one kind of touched me because I feel like I experienced that. But go ahead.
oh, I definitely feel like we've experienced teachers who
Yeah,
did not have our child's best interests at hand.
for sure.
And it required us to say, I got to take my focus off of that and put it onto this because I have to communicate to this child, we care.
Right.
We care and we will
Right.
make the investment to get this addressed.
Right.
That was very important. But yeah, bullies come in all sizes, all flavors, and
Right.
all positions. But it's not the challenge to ignore.
You have
You take the
spiritual.
means at your disposal and you invest them in trying to solve the problem. Gigi says, what is the Christian response to bullying? We should teach our children. When is it okay to fight back as Christians? Is it ever okay? Don't you love Gigi?
I
Like
do love
Gigi's
her.
like, yo, when can they knock somebody out? Comment on that. Gigi, stop it. She trying to get us canceled. Like, look at Gigi.
Oh,
Um,
she said, "When is the
you
Christian
know,
when?"
when can you give them a Christian butt whipping? Is that your question, Gigi?
That basically that's her question.
All right. So, one of the things that I love is we've all been given the gift of 100 billion neurons. 100 billion neurons. And you know what those neurons are? They are for strategizing. They are for
Mhm.
problem solving.
Yeah.
They are for you to make an assessment of what are your resources and then figure out how you can deploy them to solve the issue. Now, one of the things the movies do is they make it look like a gun and fisticuffs are the primary tool you can use to solve your problems.
Right.
And I don't know if you can even say they solve problems, but one thing they definitely do is create a lot more problems. So your goal then is to use your God-given gift of a brain to figure out what are the actual ways to solve the issue. What are the resources at your disposal? How do you get it made clear to this person that you're not a target? Okay, what are your ways to do that? So I think that's my politically correct answer to your question, Gigi. You gotta use your brain. You gotta be creative, but you've got to be committed to solving that issue.
Yes, and
Um,
Nicole, I like your question. Did you have more to that? I'm sorry,
no,
Dr.
no,
Wright.
go for it, sis.
Okay.
Go for it.
So she's saying, what are some practical ways to build confidence in kids? You know what I liked? The movie The Help. Is it The Help? If you guys, I don't know how many of you may have seen that movie, The Help, but every day The Help, The Help had the little girl that she had to take care of, and every day she would teach her, "You are strong, you are beautiful, you are kind," and she grew up. And then believing that because this is what was told to her every day, that you are strong, you are kind, you are beautiful, you are smart. So telling your children that they are kind, beautiful, smart, that they can do, anything that they want to put their mind to do, like build them up, especially what you notice as a parent where their strengths are. So encourage them where you see that they're naturally, gifted in
Right.
those ways, but definitely speaking positive affirmations to your children. Of course, children are not perfect. They're going to disobey and get in trouble. So even when they do, don't tear them down to make them feel like they are the worst people in the world. But say, of course, you got in trouble, so there's some consequences, but that you, of course, still love them, forgive them, and that you're there for them to help them to change this behavior. But you're always basically, um, just telling them, how just helping to make them feel more confident about who they are, and that's just a daily thing.
I love that you said that because you're really talking about the power of words and the
Mhm.
words you're communicating as an authority figure. So I love that. Nicole, what I would add to that is let's ponder for a second. What is the moment that we are the most damaging to our children? When are we the most vulnerable to be damaging of their self-esteem? It's when we are enraged.
Yes.
It's when we're enraged, when they do something, as they inevitably will do,
Yes, they
that
will.
will lead us to be enraged. Something falls, something breaks. I mean, like, as
Right.
if they're perfect, you know? So
Yeah.
something will happen and we will be enraged. And it is so critical for you to stop in that moment, recognize your rage, and not parent from a place of rage.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Yes.
not parent from a place of rage, because you don't have to call a person stupid
No.
to not, and yet you can treat
But
them
you can
where
make
they get the clear message you're treating them. So let me give you an example. You didn't call the child stupid, but you said, how could you do that? What
yeah.
did you just do?
Mhm.
Like so we can communicate in ways that really tear down their self-esteem. And I
Mhm.
talked about the communication issue before. Do you think your child has the wherewithal to say, you just tore down my self-esteem?
Mhm.
No, they don't. Um, but that's what you're doing. So Nicole, one of the biggest things we can do with our kids is we can become more sensitive to the moments that we're really vulnerable to tear down their self-esteem, and that is when we become enraged. Pause.
Mhm.
Pause. This is not the moment I need to meter out discipline. Let me calm down. You know
Right.
what? I need you to go to your room. I need us to pause our interaction right now.
Mhm.
I'll get back to you.
I like no, the pause is perfect. I tell parents and family therapy that are having, issues in these areas, like mom and dad have to take a time out first, then they can address the children, because we are never to discipline with anger, because then we will say the thing that will break down the child's confidence.
Well, now you're being a bully.
Right,
If you parent from a place of rage, you're being a bully.
right.
Like, and you definitely don't want that. Look at Veronica's question. I wish we gave out stars. This is the star
Yeah,
question right here.
yes.
Can you address triggers that bring everything you experience come back and affect you so dramatically that you actually regret? Shouldn't I be over these things by now? Veronica, that was a fire question. If we had paraphernalia, we would send you a t-shirt. That's why we got to work on that.
Yes.
Veronica,
Nice. We are
you are not responsible for your trauma. You're not responsible for your trauma,
now.
but you're responsible for the healing.
The healing. You
You
need
are
we need a we need a
responsible.
we need a Mental Health Monday t-shirt that says that quote, because you said that several times and that's like your quote. So we need a t-shirt with that quote on it.
You are not responsible for your trauma, but you're responsible for your healing. Like if you've been hurt, and so many of us have, it's such a great point. One of the things that damage, that hurt does is we're vulnerable to triggers,
Mm-hmm.
and the trigger will point out that the work has not been done. Okay, or that more work needs to be done. There's this myth that, like, you can take the traumatic injury and it's like something concrete that you can move past. No, it's part of you. It's part of you. But part of processing it, part of understanding it, is you're able to see some of the fallacies that your mind became injected with as a result of that trauma. And then you can shift your perspectives, you can make more accurate perspectives, and you can actually move to perspectives that are more adaptive
Mm-hmm.
and help you move life forward rather than, as you pointed out, regressing.
Right.
So not responsible for the trauma, but you are responsible for your healing and making the investments to pursue healing that insulates you from those triggers.
Yes. Okay.
All right. We're all taught were you going to say anything on that, sis?
No, 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 no. That was
Okay.
perfect. That was perfect.
We are all taught the old ways on how to be strong. This is a new doctrine for the world to address bullies and teach love. But where do we draw the line with being strong and teaching love? So what's interesting is if you look at a lot of what popular culture will say is strength is more attuned to weakness, and
Mhm.
what they call weakness is more attuned to strength. So like think of the tough guys. Think of the tough guys that we see in the movies all the time. They're brash, they're, do this way, I don't wait, and blah blah blah. Like, you know, and so much of what they're showing is actually weakness. Like, you see them slap people and hit people. And bro, if you conduct yourself like that in society, you'll probably end up in jail, and
Mhm.
your mission will be ended, really quickly. So real strength is the patience to endure rage and
Right.
remain solution focused.
Yes. And not
That's real power.
right.
That's real power. When
And
you're out with the family, any true man knows I need to behave in ways that do not endanger my loved ones.
right.
Any true man.
Yeah, and true strength, right? You're like you said, is you can respond in a way. I mean, the rage, that emotion is out there coming from the other person, and you respond with the complete opposite. That's
I
true
need to
strength. That's
diffuse this
true strength.
situation. Yeah, I
That's
need to
true strength.
diffuse it. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Because I'm like putting my loved ones in danger. That is anything but strength.
Yeah, it's not. It's not the
That,
wise.
that is anything but strength. Gigi says, is it really true that it takes like 10 positive things said to overcome one negative? I heard the ratio was 5,
I
Gigi.
was just gonna say, and the marriage, that's from Dr. Gottman. His studies show that
John Gottman.
you need five positive things to dilute or to overcome the one negative. So it's the 5-to-1 ratio, and that's in marriage. His studies were done in marriage, but I would think that could be done at would be for any relationship.
Well, yeah. Personally, I've just found where if I could be working with a subordinate, like
Right.
people, nobody wants to hear you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. Like
No,
nobody wants to hear that.
no. So
So
parents to children, definitely flower them with so much positivity, all the positive things they're doing. And then you're going to have to, if you're going to have to come with one thing that they're not doing right, you can come with that one thing and then make sure you're covering them and flowering them with all these other positive things. And I have to say, I know I talked about my mom once already, and I know she didn't like Gottman's study, but she just naturally came at me and my brother that way. And it truly, truly was a blessing. It helped us with our confidence levels for sure.
I think a lot of times we can parent from what we understood. We know the impact of how words impacted us.
Right. And you're
We
right.
know how we were impacted by words.
And she
So
didn't
then,
want yeah, she did experience that as a child, and she did not want to do anything close to that. So she went the complete opposite direction and made her children feel very loved and very confident in who they were. So,
Look at Wendy's point. When you take a look at some of the things that some of today's parents laugh at, some of the things that their kids do, which is no laughing matter, it starts there.
mm,
Wendy, you would have got a t-shirt too. Um, like I just think, man, it's just interesting as it's like people don't see how behaviors they tolerate. It might be cute when he's 20 pounds, but not when he's 200 pounds.
you said 20 pounds. I don't know if it's
You
cute.
know, that might be real cute. You'll see some parents tolerating their kids
I don't know.
hitting them.
By 20 pounds, it might not be that cute. It might be cute when they're,
Right. Like some parents, they'll tolerate the kid hitting them. Like, bro, oh
yeah,
my goodness.
no.
Man, even as an infant, I knew not to hit my mother. As an infant.
Yeah.
Don't,
No,
don't ask me how I knew that, but
yeah, no, yeah, it's true. No hitting. No hitting. And you can teach them at a very young age. I have to tell this story. I don't know, my daughter will kill me, but it's not about her, but it's about my granddaughter. We were babysitting and she's the sweetest. Like, I know she's our grandbaby, but she really has the sweetest, and she has this sweet disposition and da 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 da. And I can't remember what I was telling her when we had her, and her parents weren't here. It was just us for 2 weeks, and she was great. And then one night I was telling her no about something, and she literally just raised her hand up in the like high, and she looked in my eyes, and you could see the Christians will know what I'm saying if you're a Christian and I know most of you are Christian and watching, but the great controversy was going on in her head. I could see it like in her eyes. It was like, she calls me Mimi, like hit Mimi. And then she's like, the other voice is like, no, don't hit Mimi. And she looked in my eyes, and I was like, Winter, I was like, I don't, I said, I know you're struggling right now. I was like, but do not hit Mimi. And then she just put her hand down, and she put her thumb in her mouth, and then she just got on my lap. But I could see the struggle. My point is saying that's when
right.
she was just turning 2 years old.
What's
So
your middle name, sis? What's your middle name?
her middle name is
Your middle name.
my middle name is Roxanne.
Okay, so she was about to bring out Roxanne. Atonte was about to disappear,
I know.
and Roxanne was going to appear.
Because I was so shocked that but it starts at that very, very, very young age. Like, and she's never done anything like that. And it was like, where did this come from? But then she thought about it, and she's like, okay, I'm not going to do this. She did decide not to do it. I'm not saying that's what she's in life. She's going to do that perfectly all the time, but it starts there. It's
to my daughter's credit, not a single tantrum. Not a single tantrum. No throwing yourself on the floor. Not a single, tantrum.
And
now, my wife will have a different testimony, but not with me.
Not with you. Okay.
Not
with daddy. Okay. She's a very sweet girl. She's a very sweet girl. Your daughter. Very sweet.
She really is. She really is.
I know. We're talking about our family. But so again, it starts at the point. I mean, we did talk about bullying tonight, and we are 1 minute over time, but we did talk about bullying. I know we could, talk even more about this in such a sensitive topic, because we've all experienced this on a certain level. But it is our desire and goal that caregivers, parents, grandparents, in a way that really will help this to be grounded in the young people that you raise or help raise, that they will really understand the dangers of not being a bully and how to treat people and how serious it is. Like we teach them, like, don't be violent, don't steal, don't kill, obviously, don't, all of these things, like don't break the law, all these type of things. We really also need to really teach them that treating people with the respect and dignity that they deserve is so, so important, because you may not be physically killing somebody, but emotionally you're tearing them down. And it is a very, very negative and bad thing.
Clint would get a t-shirt too. I used to be a victim until now. I love those two words. Yes. Until now. You've
gotten two t-shirts.
Yeah. I hope this evening you got some practical solutions on how to address this scourge of this issue called bullying. And the primary point is, how can you use your influence? Okay. This is one of those situations where it's not worth looking away and saying, well, that's their problem. That's the school's problem. Even with the bully themselves, there are people who you have leverage with that person. Maybe it's reaching out to that person. Maybe it's helping them deal with their pain so it doesn't come out as bullying. It's also a matter of setting boundaries. From the principal to the students to the community to the school board to the politicians, everyone getting on the same page. You know what? We're not going to tolerate this in our community,
Right.
because injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Everywhere. Amen to that. Amen to that. Well, we want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. Please share this program on your social media. Send it to a friend that you know has gone through this. We think that just highlighting and talking about it will help people in their journey in that are looking for healing. And really, if you have been severely damaged by experiencing bullying at any age, at any time throughout your life, contacting a mental health professional in your area can be very beneficial to that journey of healing
Sis,
yourself.
you see Amra talking about she was a total tantrum thrower. Can you imagine Amra was a little brat as a kid? Oh my goodness.
If I said yes, is that bad? No, Amber, you're so sweet now. No, not because you're that way now, Amber. Not in any way that you're that way now. But I was too. I was, yeah. When I was
You were a tantrum
well,
thrower as well?
I can't. All I know is that what I can remember is if I was, I don't know how young I was. Maybe I was a little older than that. And I would get in trouble for this too. But I would slam my door if I was mad. And then I'd get,
Oh my
I know, because I
goodness.
was mad. See, that was anger. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, my
Yeah.
mom made it clear, yo, you got to control yourself.
Yeah. So you were perfect. All right. I just told
And
him.
I wouldn't say perfect
Yeah.
because oh my goodness, no question. I've got my limits, no question. But my mom was a single parent, so
Yeah.
she couldn't let boys bully her. You
Oh,
know,
no,
like
no, no. It's
she was
different.
gonna have order in her home, so she
I
wasn't.
respect your mom.
Yeah,
You're a single parent and you raised boys. I respect her a great
she
deal.
wasn't gonna tolerate no nonsense. So, and of course, we saw how hard she was working. So I don't know why we would even want to, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a partnership there. And I talk about like the influence. Neither one of us would tolerate one another disrespecting our mother. So it was a situation where,
You both protected her from
oh,
each
no
other.
question,
I
no
love it.
question.
I
It's
love it.
like,
That's beautiful.
yeah, I mean, it's we you couldn't get away with that
Yeah.
in
That's
our household.
beautiful. That is
Um,
beautiful.
Well, and so it just goes back to this is something we all have to partner with. If you're a beautiful cheerleader, leverage it. If
Yeah.
you're a jock, powerful, you've got influence, leverage it.
Right.
Everybody. If we all have to work together to get rid of this scourge.
Yes.
All right. With
Yes.
that, always a pleasure, Sister Atonte.
Yes, yes. A pleasure to do this program with you. And again, all of our viewing audience, thank you for tuning in to Mental Health Mondays. Again, share this program on your social media, share it with friends, family, just whoever that you feel could really receive a blessing from this information. So please join us again next week as we will have another Mental Health Monday program for you. Have a good evening.
Till next time.